the employee empowerment. What is exactly the cohesiveness, group-hensiveness, and diversity management? So let's begin with the new concepts and the new concept that is employee empowerment. Now we concentrate upon the meaning of empowerment. What is empowerment? Empowerment is an act given authority to do something new and free to take in, you can say, a group of decisions in their organization. So, in other words, empowerment is an act, is an action of empowering or enabling to someone to perform a certain acts or duties. So it means you a particular superior is giving an authority, a power to do something to that or to take any decision that seems fit for a particular situation or a condition, and that exactly called empowerment. So if you see, a particular study has also been conducted for more than 7,000 employees, which also shows that the employees who did not feel empowered in an organization were rated at a 24 percentile of engagement. That means 24% of engagement. That the 24% employees only who are actually engaged and empowered in their own organization, while those with a higher level of empowerment came into a 79%. That means the employees who have been empowered, who have the decisions that in a particular situation that seems fit, that 79% has been empowered by their organization and the rest are not. So this is a study which has been conducted by the Achievers Group in India. Now we talk about what is employee empowerment. When we talk about employee management concept, is a management philosophy which mainly focus on allowing the freedom, allowing a free cause or to organizational employees so that to take their independent decisions and actions which they seem fit for that particular scenario, and that's called employee empowerment. So employee empowerment in simple sense, it's only focused to allow of freedom to all those employees in an organization who can take up their own independent decision, their own action uh, in whatever the situation or condition that seems fit for, and that's called employee empowerment. Especially, it also make the organization has a responsibility to make them feel empowered to take any decision or action of any issues that exist in an organization, whether outside in. So that exactly called employee empowerment. So in India, there are plenty of the organizations who always has this authority to take independent decisions in case of the superior manpower rather than we talk about the employees. So it is very important to understand, and nowadays the companies is also providing you can say empowering programs to for the employees when it comes to in an organization. So there are few examples which has been mentioned on the screen, that is related to training and development programs that contribute, especially contribute the employee empowerment, which include leadership development, problem solving workshop, communication, interpersonal skill training, and technical skills training. In fact, if we talk about any Rio Tinto company, entity data, the workers as well as the employees who are not feeling empowerment in their own organization. So through these programs, the employee can feel empowered to take decision after taking up the training and development programs. The next one is the companies which are very interested in empowering employees should always act on the following parameters. The four main parameters to focus on that. That is, give an employee a voice. That means they just make them feel free to speak on any situation or any condition, and whatever the suggestion or recommendation they are actually willing to give in on organizations or to the head, to the management team leads or heads, or in a particular social group they act for actually, so that the organization has to give an authority, and that's it should need a voice to speak on anything that the particular situation fits for. So this is the one of the way to empower your employees in an organization. The second one is provide the plenty of opportunities for employees to grow with more autonomy. That means more freedom, additional responsibility, or maybe can give up a new role to them. That means you are motivating them, you are empowering them, give a power to take their own decision on a particular situation, to take any new role which they feel fit for it, and any additional responsibility if they are willing to take up. And that could be done through empowering or motivating them. So these are now the companies are still doing or providing these opportunities to employees. The next one is recognize employees frequently. The more and more the employees would get engaged, the more and more the confidence that they get in their own organization feels that I'm also a part of this organization. They are more confident in their own abilities and capabilities that they work for an organization, achieve their goals. So that's one of the third main point, to recognize the employees frequently, and accordingly they will increase their engagement, confidence in their own ability. That means to give a reward, to give an appreciation to them for a good work or for a good performances for a particular task. So that's called the recognize employees frequently. The third one is also provide the employees with the tools, training, and authority they need to excel. If the employees who are working more than 5 years, now they need to excel. They need training. They need tools and authority as well. Then actually it could be done through empowering them, and that's the organization responsibility to do that. Even the company leaders, the human resource professional, or fellow employees always play a very significant role in establish a supportive, empowered environment. And of course, each and every party is also trying to establish a mutual trust, make them feel comfortable, let them take to risk, let let them to take a risk, establish a clear expectation and guidelines for them, and of course, without duration, the this particular team of leaders, HR professional, and fellow members cannot empower their employees uh, carefully. So, without this collaboration, without these parameters to consider, a truly empowering employees is actually impossible. So, with this collaboration only, the team of employees, of fellow employees, the leaders, the professional, they can able to empowering their employees very well. What are the 5 points of empowerment? These are the 5 main points through which you can empower your employees. The first one is to foster such a creative environment of trust and psychological safety, to make them feel comfortable, not to give up unnecessary stress so that they turn into a depression or anxiety issues would come up in their own employees. So just create an environment, a creative and healthy or you can say friendly environment with mutual trust, and of course they should take you can say safety measures when any employee faces any psychological issues or mental issues in their own organizations. Next is building employee confidence with recognition and the incentives. That's very true. The second point of empowerment is to build up an employee confidence with recognize the power, or you can say authority or incentive or rewards to them. So in this way, you can build up an employee confidence, and of course, the employee could feel up that I am also a part of the organization permanently. The third point of empowerment is offering flexibility in work arrangements. That you can see if I'm working in a company, so if I'm not comfortable, I'm not flexible in the day shifts, so and uh, willing to work flexible in the night shifts, I can easily give my voice that I'm comfortable at night, so just arrange my work at night shift only. Empowerment, if say yes to them. And that is the third point, offering flexibility in work arrangement. Asking employees for feedback and actioning it. This is a very important point of empowerment. That it's given organization should give an opportunity to all those employees for feedback. So whatever the feedback will be given by the employees, and accordingly they work on it, and that's called empowerment. So always, whatever on any issue, organization asks employees, please share your feedback, please share your opinion, and accordingly, whatever the recommendation that fits for, and it will take an action on that. Next is supporting professional growth with coaching and delegation. That's very true. If you want to get a career growth or professional growth in an organization, the organization should come forward with to provide a training programs or coaching programs and delegate the responsibilities and duties according to their abilities after getting up training programs in an organization or by an organization. Next is what are the benefits of employee empowerment. The first one is the one of the most important benefit is that a particular organization is superiors. They motivate their employees to to work on a particular project in a group or individually. So if any new employee come in an organization or join an organization, the one of the main benefit to empower your employee is motivation. So once you motivate, the employees feel comfortable and perform their job at the best level as he or she can do that. So that is the first benefit of employee empowerment. The next is greater trust in leadership. Of course, there are always in an organization, there are a team, and of course, they always try to maintain or build up a trust between their associate members or between the employees. And that is called the government is to have a greater trust in leadership. When the employee have a greater trust in their leadership, so definitely it called employee empowerment. Next one is improved creativity. Of course, every employee is, differs from one to another, and in terms of capabilities, and their creative ideas. Once you give the opportunity to make them free and free to take a decisions, so automatically the idea, creative ideas will come forward and accordingly they can use any of the scenarios that fits for. And accordingly, if something did to improve, then accordingly they will improve their own creativity by their own ways, by their own techniques. And that is also the one of the benefit of employee empowerment. Next one is stronger bottom line. When we talk about the bottom line, we talk about that if any lacking in the if anything lacking in the employees, you can say training or development or any of the professional or career growth, if the organization will help them to provide and to make them stronger in their particular career, in their particular professional growth, and ultimately could be done through the empowerment. When we talk about the employee empowerment, can also helps to have or achieve a greater trust in leadership, and of course encourage the ambition, which also leads to a greater creativity. And of course the employer will not make them to leave the organization, they always make them to work for the organization and remain always in the organization, and that's called improve employee retention. And ultimately when it comes to the leadership, encouragement, creativity, employee retention, then all of which it ultimately improves or have a stronger bottom line for their own employees. These are the, you can say, five main benefits of employee empowerment. Next one is empowering employees have also the several benefits that increase. So when you empower, what would be the outcome? What would be the results the employees could give? These are the increased level of employee engagement. The employee will engage more and more in diversified, you can see set of activities of the organization, and it made them satisfied accordingly. The next one is improved business results. That's true when an organization empowering employees, and ultimately it leads to improved business result. That means the results of the business, whatever the objectives have been set by the businesses or organization, and ultimate their results would get improved once you empower their employees to work accordingly of their own by considering their own decisions that fit for. And ultimately I would not say it will have a good business result, but it will have a improved business result as compared to the past. So this is the five main several benefits while empowering their own employees in the organization. Next is how you improve employee empowerment. These are the reasons that how you could improve. First is delegate work responsibility based on role and skill. So whatever the role and skill having the work responsibility being given to the employees. Second, it is always made it a clear boundaries, or prepare a clear boundaries and expectation around when and how the work will be completed. It is a responsibility of the superiors that to make guidelines that when and how the work will be completed, and just clear expectations would be made up or would be set, and the boundaries would be very clear between the employees and the superiors or their leaders. So this is also important to improve employee empowerment. But be flexible, allowing employees to adjust their workday if needed. It is very important that allowing employees to adjust their own working or workday timings if needed, and that's called a flexibility given to them. If the adjustment is correct, then ultimately the employee will be allowed to work at the day or night according to the convenience by the organization. Next one is ensure employees have the resources they need to be successful. So it is very important to make them ensure that whatever the resources they actually needed should be available, and accordingly they need to be successful by using such resources for completing the task. Next is focus on the end result, not the process. That ultimately, if you are motivating your employees, so it is very important to make them focus on the end results rather than the process. Be open to employee input to improve processes. Always open with the employees so that the employees will open up their views and opinions regarding any situation, any particular scenario, and accordingly, if the process will not be goes well, then ultimately through their suggestion it will get improved. Next one is support the development of the soft skills. Of course, if you're empowering your employee, it is very important for you to support the development of the soft skills, that how to improve your English, how to improve your computer literacy skills, technical skills. So this is a way that you support and empower them to develop your soft skills within the organization. Create a continuous learning environment. Of course, if every human being has a capacity and ability to learn something new skills, and of course the organization has a responsibility to create a continuous learning environment for them, so that whatever something new learning or new skills to learn for them, accordingly they can learn and get a training programs or arrange a training programs so that they can learn something new. So it is a process of learning environment, and create a learning environment in an organization, and that leads to employee empowerment. What are the advantages of employee empowerment? Greater motivation, higher productivity, enriched company culture, more creativity in problem solving. So once you're empowering your employee, their mind will start working in creative thinking, in problem solving of any issues, practically or technically. They are very confident in taking decisions. In fact, the more and more employees will get involved in their jobs and being and be considered a part of the strong part of the organization, and ultimately it reduces the employee attrition. It means employer retention, more trust in leadership, and of course the customer experience will also get improved, because because the employees are satisfied with their job, and their ultimate goal is to satisfy the customers needs and make them satisfied. Automatically, through the empowering them, they make or improve the customer experience more better. A better brand experience for customers. Of course, if they are very happy, they are very satisfied, they are free to take a decision, they are more creative in problem solving, interact enriching the company culture, productivity is greater, motivation is more, then ultimately whatever the experience, whether it was shopping online, brand experience, you can say retail experience for consumer, it will be getting more and more better. And of course, the last one is they will able to get more business outcomes for the organization, and of course for the customers, as the ultimately goal is to generate revenues, and through this they can easily get the better outcomes with more revenues. Now we talk about what are the employee empowerment techniques. So these are the four techniques of empowering employees. The first one is show employees that their feedbacks matters. Of course, the one of the most important point is when you if you are empowering your employer, so it is very important to show your employer that your feedback is more better in an organization. Second is use recognition to better empower employees. It means to recognize and to recognize them, so that to provide training programs, feel comfortable, and so on. The next one is provide opportunities for professional growth. It's very true that opportunities are very important to professional growth. Just provide a new role, provide a new opportunities or responsibility so that their professional growth will get more and more better. Make empowerment part of your organization culture and vision. So when we talk about empowerment, that you're just making comfortable and making build a trust that they can become a part of the organizational culture and vision, and accordingly they more work on the company goals and objectives. Now, I will explain one by one the steps in detail. So let's focus upon show employees that their feedback matter. So, of course, it is very important to encourage your employees to provide the honest feedback and actively participate in an organizational activities, and of course just give them a voice to open their self that how the organization is working. So if we talk about the statistical data, according to the Achievers Engagement and Retention Report, 90% of workers said that they are more likely to stay at the company because that takes an acts on feedback. So if we talk about 90% of the workers, that means most organization are considered the employees' feedback or given importance on their feedback and act accordingly. And the HR and human resources and engagement leaders agree that 64% says an always on feedback tool is essential to an engagement listening program. It is also very important to understand that human resources and engagement leader are also agreed that 64% says that there is a feedback tool will also be essential to consider while conducting an engagement listening program, and only 20% use this tool, that is called always on feedback tool. It is very important to understand for the organization to listen the employees' voice, the employees' opinions, the suggestions that anything could help or more and more better in the organization. And only in India, only 20% tool, 20% use such a tool in their own organization. So this is a report which has been shown as an example to prove that, but it actually the most of the organization really follow this tool to listen a voice of their own employees. But once, as per the report, the answer is no. Only 20% are considering this tool to listen the voice of their own employees rather than they don't even consider to listen the voice of their employees. What would be their opinions? Nobody. So this is one of the step to empowering their employees so that their voice could be listened in the organization, or every employee should use such tool. Next one is recognize to empower. When you talk about recognize to empower, it means that to give them words of support, encouragement, appreciation, praise. That means that you have invested so much effort in your success and we trust on your work. That means a recognition from all the levels, like the peers to managers should appreciate. Sometimes it is also important to create or establish the empowering culture at your organization. So that's called recognize to empower. So just appreciate, you just give them words of support, encouragement, praise, and this is a way that you recognize them to empower in an organization. Next one is provide opportunities for professional growth and necessary support. When we talk about the professional growth and employee empowerment, both are equally interrelated to each other. As per the report, the aggregation and retention report, 80% of the people, that means one third of the workforce, says the employee development is important in a job, but the need to focus on the professional development is not limited by generation. 40% of employees who receive poor training, they leave their job within 5 years. That means professional growth could be possible if the excellent or a good training to be provided to the employees. And that is the main reason the employees who are not receiving good training, they leave their jobs within the 5 years. And the 40% of the employees says that, and 87% of the people, that means one third of the workforce, always says that the employee development is important in a job, but the focus is very limited for the development in the in today organizations. So that's the main reason the organization is equally responsible to invest the learning and development programs and urge employees to share their knowledge, take up a new responsibility, attend the industry conferences and events so that they can give them power to learn and improve their skills. And human resources will always try to establish a clear vision for career advancement at their company. After all, it is a responsibility of the human resource professionals who need to establish a clear vision for their employees' career advancement in their own company. So while the company would invest in learning and development, it's just always request their employees to share their knowledge, to take up a new responsibility, attend industry conferences or events. But ultimately, unfortunately, the employees wouldn't do that. The employees wouldn't share their knowledge. They don't take up a new responsibility and have a courage to attend the conferences and events and speak openly in that particular programs. And if they don't do that, they will not have they will not have a power to learn and improve their skills. So it is very important for every employer now onwards, just decide to share your knowledge, to take up a new responsibility, to learn something new skills, to attend the industry and conferences and events so that you can learn and improve your skill. And the organization has a responsibility to give such opportunities to them to share their knowledge, to make them attend industry conferences and events so that they can learn something new skills. So this is a way that the organization should provide opportunities for professional growth and the necessary support. The next and the last step of employee empowerment is to make empowerment part of your organization culture and vision. Just motivate them, empower them, so that they can consider him or herself an organizational culture, part of the organizational culture and vision. So according to the Dr. Malatai, it's Bioma Gardner, who is a chief workforce scientist at Achievers in US. Employees who feel heard by leaders are 4.6 times more likely to feel empowered to do their best work. That means the employees who listen by leaders are actually they are 4.6 times more likely to feel empowered to do their best work. And the leaders always try to find the ways to recognize them every day behavior so that they can term up with the company cultures and goals. So to create such culture, leadership always play a significant role and realize its role to support employees. In fact, all the levels of your company, it also need to feel empowered and set up such an environment to make them success. And who will responsible for that to make them success? The human resource professional, managers, high level leadership, and of course the fellow employees. So it is very important to have an orientation programs to set up a social groups in ideas exchange opportunities, a brainstorm new or exciting ways for employees to engage or involve in a set of activities with the other departments. So this is a way of to make them empower a part of your organizational culture and vision. So the more and more interaction between the HR manager, high level leadership, and the fellow employees, the more and more they will empower themselves and their behavior will get more and more better within the organization and outside the organization. Now the next concept is what is group cohesiveness. The group cohesiveness is a process to make the particular group, a social group, to think and act accordingly, and the most important is the trust and binding to each other, and that's called group cohesiveness. Group is said to be a state of cohesion when its members creates and build up of bonds which make them to link from to one another and to a group as a whole, and that exactly called group cohesiveness. According to the Stephens P. Robbins, who is the one of the you can say author of management, he also said that group cohesiveness is a degree to which the members should attract to each other and always motivate to every member in the group to stay with the group to achieve the goals. So this that's called the group cohesiveness. So there is a particular diagram that cohesion grow if more and more communication is done in a group. Then accordingly it build up a group identities, and ultimately it creates it's such a climate or such an environment so that all members include in a group and term to a group as a whole. And it could be done through proper communication to build up a bonds which link to one another, and of course the members could convince to each other, motivate to each other, and just stay in a group, and that ultimate called a group cohesiveness. Dimensions of group cohesiveness. The first one is group unity, attraction, and the last one is teamwork. If these particular dimensions can be seen in a group, it's called group cohesiveness. Group unity. Many theorists believe that group cohesion result a deep sense of oneness. They don't focus on individuality. They focus on a sense of oneness and it's belonging to a group as a whole. When they show enthusiastic involved in their efforts of their group and recognize the similarities which are always exist among the group members and have a close connections, and individuals show that to develop a close connection with their groups and its members. That's called group unity. Attraction. As I told, a member should attract in a group to attract to each other. So, according to the Hooks 1992, group cohesiveness is main intention to develop from a depersonalized attraction to group members based on their status. Of course, when you have a clear status, good status, definitely the group members would also get attracted to you, and rather than your personal attraction based on specific relationship. So in the particular group, your past relationships or your personal attractions will not have any place in that particular group and even not exist at all. So your depersonalized, your qualities will attract to the group members based on your status. That at the present status, what you can able to present yourself, and if that attract to the group members, that's called group cohesiveness. That's called the one of the dimension and component of the group cohesiveness. Teamwork. As many theorists stress that the cohesion comes from group members' commitment to work together to complete their tasks or goals. Even the members who are very task oriented, they of course they create and build up a greater independency and a feeling of responsibility for the group outcomes. So ultimately it's all about the teamwork, it's all about the group members commitments to work together to complete the whatever the task available in the particular community and take a collective or achieve the collective goals rather than individuals' goals. So it's a teamwork, work as a team, and just achieve the collective goals. These are the factors that contribute to group cohesiveness. The first one is threat and competition, time together, previous successes, difficulty in entry, group size, similarity of attitudes and value. If something these factors are available, and automatically it will contribute to the group cohesiveness. The next first one is threat and competition. So if whenever any common if any common group goal is threatened, then cohesiveness increases. They work together. They they join together and just work on that particular task, which is very harmful for the group. So as the cohesiveness increases, importance of the goal will also get increased, also get focused by them. So when anyone or any group will fight for a goal, so that particular goal will get a high priority. So any threatening party will have a less chance of success when they face a unified force, a unity group, a unit of group. So it always means failed in their aim when they face a unified groups or forces to tackle with, and that's called threat and competition. Difficulty in entry. Some groups are not easy to join. The members are very carefully selected based on the similarities, based on their qualities, and accordingly, every selected member feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. So the more difficult to get into a group is, the more cohesive that group becomes. So if some new member is already having a difficulty to enter in that particular group, because the group are more cohesive, they are more bonded to each other, and they have a very close connection to each other. So some new member would come, they don't feel you can say we in a group or we-ness in a group. The reason being is exclusive and elite groups, the members are basically selected on the certain characteristics, whether it's qualities, whether its own nature, behavior. It's very common uh, that all particular characteristics will add on to light and get attracted towards each other. So sometimes if a new member would come should have a similar characteristics and get can easily adjust in the group and just build up a trust and bond, a strong bond together according to the time period. Time together. So it's very natural that more time, the more and more people would spend time, the more they will get time to get to know each other. They have a more tendency to have a close connection to each other, and ultimately, the degree of the cohesiveness will get strong. So, in a particular organization, people who work near each other, they get more time to spend each other. For example, the employees who are working in the same organization and they stay or reside nearby, so they have more time to understand each other, know each other, and ultimately they spend more time together. And in a particular group, when they have a close connection and spend more time, then the degree of cohesiveness of that particular group members will get strong. So that is the main third dimension, a factor that the group's members should spend time together more. Group size. So since the close interaction or continuous interaction among members is very essential for our cohesiveness, and it is based on the assumption that large group will always restrict the communication, the extent of communication, or it could be a situation to have a communication gap, and ultimately the interaction with each other would be less, and the reduction and there is a reduction of degree of cohesiveness. So it depends upon the group size as well, that whether the degree of cohesiveness would get increase or decrease. So if the group size would get larger, the degree of cohesiveness would get decreased because they don't get ahead. They restrict the communication, the extent of communication, or there would be a communication gap and less chances to interact to each other. So that's why it is one of the factor that contribute group cohesiveness. Next is previous success. As the automatically the group has ultimate goals or meaningful goals. So the particular you can say the cohesiveness of group could get increased if the previous successes of any of the members would get shared, and everyone should feel the responsibility of for their achievements. For example, when a sports team wins in an important game, everyone in the team congratulate every other member of the team for this success. So that's called the previous successes, the experiences, the feelings should share in the group so that every group should understand and feels responsible for that particular achievement, the previous achievements. So one of the good example is basketball team, volleyball team, cricket team. Uh, so any team which always have a previous successes, so the cohesiveness of that group would get increased or that team would get increased if they appreciate and understand and feel responsible for the achievement. Similarity of attitude and values. And one of the great example is cricket teams. So whenever the team would get Indian team would won the match, the every team member would come together and just celebrate the success of the team. So this is called the cohesiveness, a group cohesiveness. Similarity of last one is similarity of attitudes and values. The greatest source of such group is similarities in values, morals, beliefs, and code of conduct. If every member of the group hold the similarities in all of the above, then definitely the cohesiveness of the groups will get stronger by the time, and that's called the similarity of attitudes and values. Now, this is a relationship between the group cohesiveness, performance norms, and productivity. If there is a high cohesiveness, then of course the performance norms would be higher and productivity would be more high. When the cohesiveness is low, the performance norm is high, then ultimately it leads to moderate productivity. When the cohesiveness is high and there is a low performance norms, that means there is a low productivity of the group. When there is a low cohesiveness, low performance norms, that means it leads to moderate to low productivity of the group. So there is a strong relationship between the group cohesiveness, performance norms, and productivity. So if there is a high performance norms, high cohesiveness, high productivity. If there is a low cohesiveness, high performance norms, moderate productivity. If there is a high cohesiveness, low performance norms, it leads to low productivity of the group. If there is low cohesiveness and low performance norms, then ultimately it leads to moderate to low productivity. It could be a great productivity, it could be a low, or a saturation gap between the moderate or to low productivity. Benefits, it increase the moral values, it also increase the productivity, it also improve the communication, of course it also conformity and influences the you can say the status of the members of the group. Disadvantages, a clash of personalities would be the different, conflict of task would be possible, breakdown in the communication, struggling for the power, and of course the frequent turnover of the members, and of course disagreement will always exist in a group. And of course the groups would be classified from one to another. So, and the members are also, you can say, segregated among different groups. So, this is also the one of the disadvantages just because of these factors. How to increase cohesion, make the group small in size, encourage the agreement with group goals, increase time members spend together, increase the group status and admission difficulty, stimulate the competition with the other groups, give rewards to the group, not individuals, and physically isolate the group. So these are the ways that to increase the cohesion. How to decrease the cohesion, that let induce this should have a less disagreements in group goals, have a increase the membership heterogeneity, restrict interaction among members, increase the group size, allocate reward to individual and rather than to a group. So if you don't want any cohesion, so of course you just do this, ultimately cohesion will get increased. So remove the physical isolation, introduce a dominating member. That if any dominating member will exist in our group, so definitely we dominate the other members, and ultimately the cohesion will get decreased. So this is also the one of the main, you can say, factor that could decrease the cohesion or leads to decrease in cohesion. What is diversity management? Diversity management refers to all those actions of the organization to promote a greater inclusion of employees from different backgrounds into an organizational structure. It means just to have employees belongs to different backgrounds, following up a specific policies and programs. Organization always adopt the diversity management strategies so that the growing diversity of the workforce should be there all around the world. For example, a French company always implement the policies and programs with the aim to improve the sensitivity in providing employment to minority ethnic groups in the country. This is called diversity management, and how you manage and provide the different benefits or offerings to the different groups, whether it would be the ethnicity groups, whether it would be you can say any other community LBQT groups in the country, which the countries are actually working on that, and that's called diversity management. Characteristics of diversity management is voluntary, so it's a voluntary organizational action. So those who are very interested to work to work or manage the diversity in the organization, and just having plenty of workforce of different groups like ethnicities, religions, nationalities, and demographics. And there is, and then the particular organization then go ahead to do that, and there is no restrictions or any government regulations. They just, in fact, the government incentives to be provided to encourage the organization to implement such diversity management programs and policies in the organization. Next one is provides tangible benefits. A company should use such diversity strategy so that to aim up the potential of all employees and give the company a competitive advantage to its industry. It allows each employees, whether regardless of their you can say race, religions, to bring their talent, their country talents, their religion talents and skills to the organization. If you look up in the university, there is a cultural dress competition of all those employees, of all those students who belong to different religion, different nationalities, different race, and accordingly they get the opportunity to show their own country talent and skills to the university or the organization, and that's called the one of the characteristic of the diversity management. Broad definition: diversity management uses the various factors in terms of you can say managing the diversity in the organization. So the broad definition will always make the diversity programs more inclusive and less potential to reject any members or any majority member of a particular group of privileged sections of the society. So diversity means to diversity management. The meaning of the exact meaning of this diversity management is to manage the diversity program so that every member should have a more potential to include in it. These are the best practices of diversity management commitment: identify new talents, provide a safe environment, make diversity to achieve company objectives, and how to distinguish between the diversity and affirmative action. So that's it for today. About all these include all these important topics for examination. So till time, thank you for listening this session, and namaste to all.